Hi, good morning. This is Prakash, CEO, strategist, author, and coach of Sea Change Consulting, India. Coronavirus, business impact, and the role of the CEO and the business owner is what I am going to share about today. This will be one of the most important video that you will get to watch, and kindly spare about 15 minutes to go through to see what impact coronavirus has on your business, which has already become a pandemic and considered a global crisis which is far bigger than what has hit us in the last 50 to 100 years, including the 2008 recession. This is one of the most unprecedented global crises, and the impact on the society, on governments, and on business is still being studied. Yet, when I look at one of the quotations that I read long ago from a 1st century BC Greek philosopher who said, anyone can be a help when the ship is calm and the sea is calm. It goes on to say that when the moments of crisis hits us is when really the leadership capabilities of you and your team is going to be deeply tested. This is one of the most arguably biggest challenge that humanity is facing today. But it is also the time for us to keep our head cool and calm and look at objectively how to handle the crisis of such a big magnitude. Based out of my consulting, coaching, and studying many of such crises in the past experience, I thought of sharing a simple framework that would help every business owner and a CEO to tide over this crisis and in fact convert this challenge into an opportunity. Next 10 to 15 minutes, please ensure that you don't have any distractions and take notes if possible. What I intend sharing is a 7-step framework, something which has been proven globally, including some of the consulting workshops that we do and some of the big mid-cap organizations to MSMEs that we have been handling and helping them to tackle this crisis. Step 1 of 7 is what we call as the understanding phase. Have you understood the magnitude of this? Are you able to make sense? You, your organization, and your stakeholders. Have a 360-degree conversation. Talk internally, talk to experts, talk to consultants to get clarity on the nature of crisis and how it can impact your business in the months and years to come. Step 2 is what I call as the assimilating phase. This is the time for you to digest what you have understood and get the perspectives right for your team, the stakeholders, the public who might be hit by your products and services. When we cross these two phases, we move into what we call as the step 3 of the 7th phase, called as the decision phase. By this time, we hope that you have understood and assimilated what is hitting your business and how you need to respond to this, not just react. Step 3 of 7 in the decision phase, once you have understood and assimilated the impact of the crisis, it is time to take appropriate decisions, keeping the decisions as logical as possible and not give room to unnecessary sentiments, egos, emotions, and knee-jerk reactions. This might involve announcing a short-term disaster recovery policy, a plan to face the uncertainty in the short term to build back the investors' confidence and also your employees' confidence, decisions that will calm down the internal and external stakeholders on the financial impacts, the service impacts, and the supply chain impacts. Once you have crossed the decision making phase, we move into what we know as the step 4 of 7, getting the recovery team together phase. This is the time to put well-grounded core team to communicate the plans to all concerned and get them on board, get their buy-in. People can be very emotive and they may not be able to understand well unless this task is properly done by this team. Use collaboration as the basic tool to manage the change management mechanisms. This involves a drastic change. It is just not incremental change. The way in which you have been looking at business and life has changed dramatically in the last few days. I am recording this video on the 16th of March 2020. Once you are able to cross the step 4 of 7, we move into the step 5 of 7 phase, what I call as getting back on track as soon as possible phase, ASAP. Turn on all the gears. By this time, you have understood, you have assimilated, you have taken the decision, you have formed the team. Now you are ready to go full swing to back on business as usual mode at the earliest. It's only a question of regrouping. You have done business before. You know what business is. It's only a question of getting your emotions out, getting the logical clarity in, and understanding what we need to do next. You can't afford to lose attention or momentum in delivering your services either in the short or in the long term. Once we cross this, we move into what is known as step 6 of 7. This is in the delivery phase. You have to keep looking for loopholes to plug on the way as you go along, because nothing is written in cement that this will work. You might have to rediscover, regroup, go back to the steps that you've taken. Beware that crises of any proportions make people jittery, and it is up to you and the core team that responsibilities and roles are clarified and accepted. Destructive blame games are avoided, because this is the time when people will say it went wrong because of that person or this person and things like that. This is the time for you to continuously keep looking at small loopholes which can become catastrophic. As a business owner or as a CEO, it's your prime job. And the most critical phase, which is a 7 of 7, as I say, you never stop learning. Many of the challenges that you're currently facing is because some of the mini crises that hit you and your business or the country earlier was not seen through and you were not prepared enough. This is the time for you to learn. This is the time for you to don't stop learning. Make sure that the parties involved in the crisis engage in continuous learning, taking consistent feedbacks on evidence-based situations, not emotion-based situations. Everything is based on data and evidence, and drawing reflective lessons to ensure that the future performance does not go off track. If you really look at it, it's a question of now getting ready. The way in which crisis challenges are taken up, when and by whom determine how crisis will determine their course and what sort of impact they will have. It's a time for you to see if leaders will follow the sensible management and leadership advice that has been shared now, rather than falling a prey to fake news that people feed or they themselves tend to feed based on the fear psychosis that they go through, getting into blaming situations and using the crisis for their own personal interest. This is also something that happens, that even in the worst of situations, people look for personal gains. As a leader or as a CEO or as a business owner, it's up to you to ensure you don't fall a trap into that. Just to sum it up, I'll give you the 7 steps with certain ballpark timelines that you can really get into. Some of these can run in parallel for you to save time. Step 1, understanding phase. For a mid-cap to an MSME, it takes not more than 2 to 3 days if you put your head and heart together. Step 2, assimilating phase. Takes another 2 days for you to just put them into the right buckets and get them into a proper shape. Step 3, a decision making phase, which I would say max about 2 to 3 days if you all sit together and work it out. Till now, we have just about spent about a week in looking at a crisis of a global magnitude. Step 4, getting the recovery team together, maximum 1 or 2 days. You already know who the key team members are. Step 5, getting back on track as soon as possible. This involves communication, talking to internal stakeholders, external stakeholders, maybe going to social media, to the press or whatever, depending upon the size of what you are. This takes maximum 3 to 4 days time. All this to be done on war footing. This is not an army war where you take about 5 years to build and close. This is about a surgical strike which happens in less than 24 hours, for which there is enough evidence from India and from several locations, geolocations from across the globe. Step 6, keep looking for loopholes to plug on the way. This is a repetitive daily task which is to be personally done by the CEO and the business owner. Step 7, never stop learning. Again, this is a repetitive, ongoing work that again doesn't stop at all. If you look at one of the most important learning that I have seen, which comes from again a Greek philosopher called Archilochus, He said, "We don't rise to the level of our expectations, we fall to the level of our training and preparedness." Just look at it, what it really means. The entire thing approached logically is a question of not just survival, but converting this chance for you to regroup and build a solid team and a solid business model which can help you take through the crisis into unprecedented success. We at Sea Change consistently believe that we are here to support you at any point of time after watching this video. If you need any support, we have a lot of online tools to help you. We have offline team as big as 100 plus consultants pan India to help you with. We are also working across ASEAN countries. So just send us a mail to note on this ID, info@seachangeworld.com, info at seachangeworld, SWE, changeworld.com. You can also visit our website to get more information on the services we offer and how we can help you to recoup in this time of crisis. Visit us at seachangeworld.com. We are there at a short notice. We are well prepared. We know how to handle this. You can call us at any time for help. We are just one click away, or just one phone call away, or just one email away. This is the time for you to regroup, and I can assure with certainty that it is more to do with mental makeup and preparedness rather than anything else. I have laid out the 7-step plan for you to go ahead and make use of it. Feel free to ensure that you make the best use of this to ensure that business just does not survive, but it grows as well. I wish you the very best in this endeavor and all future endeavors that you and your business will be going through in the years to come. Thank you.